We're ready. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I want to get Sean. We heard from Sean at all? The Portsmouth Redevelopment and Housing Authority, Board of Commissioners meetings are held the third Thursday of each month at 5 p.m. And here we are. Thank you very much, everybody, for attending. All meetings are conducted here at 3116 South Street, unless otherwise noticed. All members of the public are welcome to attend, and thank you, members of the public. Got the roll call there, Mr. Bland.
Commissioner Cost,
Here.
Commissioner Morgan, she's sick. Commissioner Pickett. Here. Commissioner Prince, Commissioner Wright,
Here.
Vice Chair Wick,
Here.
and Chair London.
Here. We've got the, you were sent the minutes from the December 15th meeting. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to read them, so I'll take a motion for approval.
I make a motion to approve.
Second, thank you. Any discussion at all on the minutes? All right, thank you very much. A motion to approve, yes. Okay. Motion, we've got the motion to approve, yes, okay, yes.
Commissioner Cost,
Yes.
Commissioner Pickett,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chair Wick,
Yes.
Chair London.
Yes. As far as my remarks here, again, thank you very much for coming. I really am impressed with where we're at. And as we talked about last time, I'm excited about us starting a new year. Regretfully, and I guess I'm going to put myself on report here, we still don't have our chair liaison. We don't have our liaisons here from City Council. We have two new liaisons, Councilman Tillage and Vice Mayor Lisa Lucas Burke. So I know Mr. Bland had almost a half a day with learning, showing around all the properties. So hopefully we'll get them here. So we'll probably see them later on tonight. 2022, I think, is ending as about as much as of a challenge that we could have. We're still coming out of COVID. Mr. Bland is working closely with the city on the on funding, particularly for the evictions. We're asking the city for some support so we can try and be proactive as much as we can on what we have there. Some of the good news is we're still moving along with the Move to Work program. So I'm very pleased with where we're going out with an organization. Where we were a 5% pay raise for the employees, which I think is a step in the right direction. We've had 9 scholarships given out by the scholarship committee this year for folks that live in housing. I think that's fantastic. We had some significant properties that we either developed or we bought or we're trying to buy and clean up. We had the Woda property there on Effingham. We had the ribbon cutting for that, which was 50 units for the workforce housing on Effingham, which I thought was great. I know we're going to have some conversations about 5315 High Street, which is the old house there that we'd like to put senior housing on. We've got the TCC property that we're still negotiating some challenges there. So those are the 3 big properties. I want to leave you with some numbers. We've got 88 employees on the payroll. All right. So the numbers, that is quite significant from when I came on the staff 5-6 years ago. That's down about 50%. So you have 50% less people doing the same amount of work here. And with that amount of work, when I say that, that's $200 million in assets that this organization has and close to $20 million in revenues. That is a big company. So I just want to leave you with that responsibility. I know the numbers I usually put is somewhere about 12,000. We have 12,000 people that we touch, whether it's in public housing or the housing choice voucher program. We have close to 12,000 people that we touch. So the responsibilities you have are not only enormous financially, but they're enormous just from the city of Portsmouth. There's only 94,000 people who live in the city of Portsmouth. So when you talk, we're affecting the lives of 11% of them. That's pretty significant. All right. We're going to go from committees to committee reports, or again, I don't see the liaison here. And again, we'll have to, hopefully we'll see them later, at least see the both of them later on tonight. Committee, going to talk finances as we always do first. And you're gonna allow me the opportunity there, Mr. Pickens?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
one of these days, you're gonna get it, bud. You're gonna get it, all right?
They didn't in November.
Can you hand out the budget? Somebody got the budget? Everybody got this? Before I talk budget, I want to take a look back. We still do not have in our hands the 2020 audit. We do not have in our hands the 2021 audit, and we're working right now on the 2022 audit. We have received some reasonable conversation with the auditors that in February, we should have the 2020 audit in our hand. By end of May, early June, we should have the 2021 audit in our hand. And sometime around the September, October, November timeframe, we'll have the 2022, at least the preliminaries out to be able to get everything that we need to HUD. So as far as financial responsibilities, we are not hearing any deficiencies, either whether it be any material deficiencies. We're not hearing any major issues that there is with the 20, 21, or 22 audit. It is truly just a matter of people. The company that we have is much like every other white collar, blue collar organization has had tremendous turmoil in people. So every time we get some traction on the audit, they get new staff on it. We got to explain the audit all over again. But everything that needs to be submitted to HUD is submitted to HUD. It's just that we need the final audits in our hands so we can say we've done what we're supposed to do. I'm going to go 30,000 foot level on the budget, and I'll pass the baton then to Mr. Reyes if he has any more specifics. But the budget, as you see, you're being given two sets of pieces of paper. The top one is the ones that are the kind of the private partnership. Is that right?
No.
The public. It's public, okay. That's the public housing that we have, which is more the housing choice voucher side of the house. All right, we zero everything out. All right, you assume from a budget standpoint that you're not going to make money or to lose money. You're going to zero it out, and the funding of the profits that we get or the funds that we get, or from the fees that we get from administering the housing choice voucher program. So when you see that that money there of $512,000, that's pretty much coming from the fees that we get from that organization. From those fees, right? Buried in the admin salaries and benefits line is the 5% increase. Buried in the admin salaries and benefits line is an increase of benefits from 30% of a person's pay to 35% of the person's pay, because we're trying to account for the increase of healthcare costs. Buried in the some of the other information technology, telephone, equipment, utilities, we upped all those expenses an additional 10% to factor in for the inflation from all the utilities that we have. So Mr. Reyes is trying to be as conservative as possible and try and second guess and be conservative that we are expecting increases for the cost of benefits and increases for the cost of running the business. All right. On the second sheet, you have the public housing. All right. Again, most of the money that we receive is from fees that we get. You'll see there to the far right, profit of roughly $363,000. We're looking for an overall profit of about $800,000 for the organization. All right. It is a conservative budget, right? It is a conservative budget. So the details are available through Mr. Reyes, and Ray, I'm going to leave it from you. Is there any other thing you want to talk about? Anything else you want to bring up? And I'm
Covered everything.
Right. Any specific questions anybody has that we can take back to finance and get Mr. Reyes to come back with the answers? Okay. All right. So again, leave you with $17 million in revenue, 88 employees. All right. That's what we're sitting at. If anybody asks, well, how big are we? Yeah. All right. Okay. Later on, we'll be voting on the budget. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Do that now, or do you want to wait?
You can do it now.
Okay. I have two resolutions. I have resolution 2023-01, adopt a resolution adopting the consolidated asset management based operating budget for fiscal year ending December 31st, 2023. I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion, got a second? Second. Okay, Mr. Bland.
Commissioner Cost,
Yes.
Commissioner Pickett,
Yes.
Commissioner Prince,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chair Wick,
Yes.
and Chair Lane.
Yes. The second resolution, I just want to make a comment personally. My social security went up 8.7%, and I challenged the chief financial officer that we're only given a pay raise for 5%. We're looking at the 5% now, and again, as the funding is available, we will be looking at payroll as the year rolls out. But while it's significant that we're giving the pay raise, because those that have worked for the organization know for years we didn't give a pay raise at all. Right. So it's just significant that we at least give some contribution toward the employees for the work that they're doing. All right. So I have resolution 2023-02, resolution authorizing the implementation of a 5% salary increase for all PRHA employees. I need a motion.
So move.
Yep, second.
Second.
Got it. Ms. Blaine?
Commissioner Cost,
Yes.
Commissioner Pickett,
Yes.
Commissioner Prince.
First, for the record, Prince is here, and yes.
Gotcha. Commissioner Prince.
Yeah.
Commissioner Wright. Vice Chair Wick,
Yes.
and Chair Lane.
Yes, yes. Thank you for those two resolutions. The accounting staff, as you well know, we've had almost a complete overhaul of the finance staff. And I know Mr. Pickens and we asked some really probing questions. And Mr. Reyes, I just want to say thank you very much for joining the team. And I appreciate your professionalism. I appreciate your honesty in some of the questions that you give us. But for any of the other commissioners, we meet with Mr. Reyes about an hour and a half before the meetings, right? So if anybody would like to attend, do an even deeper dive in some of the topics that we go. But we do have a lot of things that we're looking forward to looking at in finance in 2023. We have investments here at PRHA. I'd like us to know about where our investments are at. We've got credit card controls. We've got some other controls. I'd like Mr. Reyes to talk to us sometime during the year about those controls. And we've got some other entities that have accounting, that have operating statements, and I'd like us to look at those operating statements. So I'm excited about where we're at. I'm excited about where we're looking. I'm excited about the honest questions that we're asking. So again, Mr. Reyes, thank you very much. Right, development? You got it?
Yes, I got it. So for capital improvements, the final draft of the design plans for capital improvements are complete for Seaboard Square and Westbury properties, Holly Square, Pine Street, and the cottages. We met with VIA Design on last minute changes and expect final update by February 2023 in order to begin procurement. For property 340 High Street, we have been moving forward with the board's approval to sell the property for mixed use development. As of January 11th, the property is under contract with deposit confirmed. The CDBG funds, we submitted a final request for reimbursement to the city of Portsmouth for the initial $150,000 in funds for the senior home repair program. On January 13th, we submitted a fiscal year 23-24 application for an additional $215,000 for the senior home repair program. A second fiscal year 23-24 CDBG application was submitted to the city for acquisition of blighted land in Lincoln Park redevelopment area. The January board agenda includes their presentation and update, an effort to provide senior housing Churchland. And there is another development item in closed session. That's it.
Okay. Questions? I want to focus on that senior home repair program. I think last year was the first year we did it. While we have responsibility for the repairs of the properties that we own and we maintain, and also the inspection of the properties that we have our tenants in, Ms. Winston, Mr. Bland were able to negotiate with the city. What about all those other houses that people own, particularly seniors who are low income, who don't come under our umbrella? We'd like to be able to offer help for them to get repairs done to their house. Last year was the first time we did it. I think we got about $160,000, $180,000, and we blew through that. Just blew through that. So you've heard that we've asked for an additional amount. We've asked for an additional $250,000. So we know the city of Portsmouth has got the ARP monies. We want to be a part of that success to say, hey, not only do we care about the people that live in our properties, we care about all those low-income people in the city of Portsmouth, and how can we help them repair our houses? I think I saw in the significant activity reports, I think we've already started getting applications on that, all right? But I gotta tell you, even $500,000 is just gonna put a dent into the repairs that need to be done for seniors in this city. But I gotta tell you, if we can just help one or two, that's fantastic. So, if there's a support, as you see a council person, if you see support that we can get from council, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that. I want more aggressive relationship with the CDBG and the home fund folks. That's why we're talking to them also about the eviction. If there's funds available to help the folks for evictions, because we know there's city money available. The collaboration that we're having with this new council, I want to see if they're gonna put their money where their mouth is. All right, if that makes sense. Okay, Sean, you got something?
Yeah, just to piggyback off of that, I was on the Rotary Club for years. And Rotary, started Paint Your Heart Out. I think in 2023, if you guys would agree, it'd be nice if we could submit an application submittal for someone who is an elderly individual, that PRHA can do volunteerism and take on a house project. We've got all sorts of talent here to paint, electric, whatever, but something that we can put our name on to say, yes, we're doing this as a group, as PRHA, but we're also doing some volunteer time that we can.
It's a great idea. It's a great idea. But let me, I'm gonna give that to you. All right, since we have, not so much our properties, because we've already got that in our budget, but if we got somebody who has a housing choice voucher, that we can help someone that lives in one of those homes. Again, we're not looking to renovate the house, but if there's landscaping that needs to be done at a house or outside work, I mean, I know it's kind of helping the owner of the house out, right? But again, it sure would be a nice signal to send to our tenants that, hey, we care about you, even though it's supposed to be taken care of by somebody else. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, but Sean's right. Rotary does this. They have I think it's in April.
Yeah,
They do it.
Paint Your Heart Out.
And they do quite a few houses, but if we can just offer one, let's go with one. Let's see if we can walk that dog. Yeah, right.
But it would have volunteers from all of us.
Yeah.
Not just one of us.
Sean, are you up on human resources?
Yeah, and I'm gonna take responsibility for not getting together this month. It's just been a horrible month for me, leading up to it. But if we can talk this evening, before we leave and get together, I also need to, would like to get the number and email to whoever our actual HR is, so that we can get together with the actual HR company and get a feel for how they are, and maybe a representative from staff. If that's.
Questions? What I handed you was, I want to get off dead center on an evaluation for the ED. I asked him specifically to memorialize for me what he felt the accomplishments were for the organization for 2022 and where he felt the goals were for 2023, so it could form a basis for performance for you. But I really want to get off dead center. So Sean, I'm giving you that.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
We definitely have some forms here that we could possibly use for the PHA's use.
Well, we, just so you know, we just authorized a 5% pay raise for the staff. That does not give a pay raise for the ED. Right, housing?
I'm doing housing.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay. Our report for this month is as follows. The housing department will be requesting approval to write off 12 delinquent accounts for the public housing developments totaling $8,226.75. Of this amount, $6,737.87 in rent, 0 in retro rent, $5.45 excess utility, and $1,483.43 in miscellaneous charges, which are due from former residents who have not lived in the authority's low rent public housing for a period of at least 6 months or who are deceased. In addition, we are requesting approval to write off 19 delinquent accounts for the assisted developments totaling $25,554.92. Of this amount, $22,899.24 is in rent, 0 in retro rent, $389.20 in excess utility, and $1,811.18 in miscellaneous charges, which are due from former residents who have not lived in the authority's low rent assisted housing for a period of at least 6 months or who are deceased. And the housing team is continuously assisting current residents with their rental accounts. Any questions?
Questions? Thank you. All right. Governance, which is myself and Renee, we have no report for this meeting. Security?
There's a new group we need to get together as well. Who's the other security?
Me.
Okay, so I'm gonna leave that up to you to.
What's the head guy, the one we saw coming in? Who we need to see? Nate? Yeah.
Just let me know.
Okay.
Have we had any significant crime activity since our last meeting in our properties?
We have not.
I hate to ask that, because, you know, as soon as you ask that, something happens. You know, but as you know, we as a board have definitely been vocal to the council and, about, support for, the security of our housing. Oddly enough, I have a meeting with the police chief on Wednesday on another matter, but again, I'm gonna bring up about, security. I know Mr. Bland and I saw him while we were at lunch the other day. We saw him, out in town and just let him know that we want to come talk to you. But, you saw the report, if you haven't seen the reports, on all I know is what I see in the paper. There were 42 homicides in Portsmouth last year, and Portsmouth is highest of any city in the Hampton Roads area. Portsmouth has the highest opiate rate of any city in the Hampton Roads area. Portsmouth also has the highest unemployment of any city in the Hampton Roads area. All I'm going to report is we had no violent activity in any of our properties. I'll make the comment while I was going through on Martin Luther King, because Mr. Bland and I attended a Martin Luther King breakfast, and I rode through Lexington and Dale. It's probably the cleanest I've ever seen it. All right, I don't know if that makes any sense, but sometimes I feel we need help from the residents also. And it's the cleanest I've seen it since usually there's trash everywhere. I did the spot check on vehicles about cars to make sure that they were current on license plates. There were just a couple that I saw. So whatever word needs to get to the RAB board or whatever other groups we had, just tell them thank you, because it's both ways. As you well know, when Miss Britt was here and she caught me again at one of the city council meetings, I told her our biggest problem, our challenge that we have is I can say it's a problem. The challenge that we have is while I support our residents and feel that we have good quality residents because we vet them all the time, it's who they have visiting us in the properties. And that's what caused all the problem. That's what's been causing the problems, is the visitors that are coming in, right? I don't have a solution to that, right? And we've had some horrific actions happen on our properties that weren't from folks who lived in our properties, right? But that's what happens when you have a place that's not gated and it's opened up and it's in the areas that everybody culturally or thinks that there's going to be a problem. But I just want to say it was quiet this month. You know, I still got a number of phone calls, but at least it was quiet from the standpoint of violent crimes. And if you've been reading the paper, you know, we had 3 shootings last week. They walked into Maryview Hospital. They'd been shot. So it hasn't stopped in the city, but I applaud what our security people are doing. Cameras are working. The license plate checks are working. We're doing some extraordinary things that I didn't know we were going to have to do outside of housing. All right. All of a sudden we're in the security business, Again, it's gonna be probably the number one thing, when and if we get in front of council. What are you doing with the revolving door on your police chiefs? What are you doing on the revolving door on your city managers? Because it's hard for us to get any gosh darn traction with anybody when they change, all right? This is now the 5th or 6th city manager that Mr. Blandis and I have had to talk to about the MOU between us and the city, all right? We don't have, our MOU is dated 1954, all right? Somewhere along the line, we've got to get into the, 2023 about the way we do business, all right? And the way we do business is not for us. I want us to be the best in housing. Y'all, all of y'all either lived in housing, work in real estate, y'all have a vested interest in it. But I want us to stay focused on those 88 employees, providing support to 12,000 people for $17 million in revenue and $200 million in houses. I just can't believe I got to worry about the kids at the bus stop, but that's what we do. And I appreciate it. Yes, sir.
If I may, being the bad guy, we still aren't in the business of security. We want to keep our people secure.
Got it.
But I would purport 3 things as we're dealing with city council, having come from Maryview for 20-some years. Though we have a population of 94,000 to 96.7, whatever it is today, a lot of the crime, a lot of the homelessness, a lot of the mental health is in Portsmouth. They are factually being shipped over here on buses, cars, to one of 200. And it's a good thing that we have all the individuals and entities that are giving. But because we are so giving, people are being brought over here. You've got no less than 5 homeless groups that are feeding our folks, one of which is behind Enterprise Rent-A-Car. I'm sorry.
Yes.
That are coming over from Virginia Beach to feed because they're sending their folks here. Now, some would say that, oh, well, that's great because Portsmouth gives so much. But I do think that we're acquiring a lot of the crime, homelessness, helplessness, because we are giving so much and no other city is doing quite as much as we are, especially with the churches. So I think, I certainly have never done a study on it, but I've lived through it with Maryview where it's a dump job. Nobody else wants them. We get them. And I think that as we're looking at crime and all these other statistics, there needs to be an adequate mark of where you came from, where your housing is, when these crimes are committed, because a lot of them, including the one that was at King's Court or whatever is down the street, they were from Newport News.
Yeah, I got you.
And the other thing, and once again, if you could remind us who's our current liaison? Or is
Lisa
liaison?
Williamsburg and Cindy.
I just-
Yeah, that's it. And I made the public comment that they're not here.
I mean, I didn't mean it for that, but I
Yes, sir.
didn't recall. From
I did.
Just want to kind of go back to housing. I know we was talking about repayment plans, I think. Last meeting before last, did y'all come up with anything with that?
We have repayment plan in place. Val can, update.
Is it still the 50%? We were just
So
kind of
that's the
discussing.
people that didn't lose income. We do our normal 40%, 30% of their adjusted growth, and then the other 10% for their payment agreement for retroactive rent.
Retro. I know, because we was talking about so many people were behind that wasn't retro, so we still offering them the same,
Glenn?
If you have anything to add, we kind of covered everything.
Okay.
So I don't have anything to add. Yes, I have talked to the new city manager and I asked her if I could be on her schedule at least once a month, so that we can be in sync with what's going on. And you mentioned earlier, I told her that we're in the process of buying the property at the corner of Columbus and Deep Creek, so we can strip away that blight. And she thought that was a good thing, and we're gonna try to work together to try to eliminate some of the other blight in that area there. Cause we know we move the blight away, then Prince Park can become a better community. So she's, I feel that the city manager committed to working with the housing authority and so that we can work jointly together to make some positive changes within the community.
Thank you. Val, you gonna be presenting these two who's presenting these two resolutions? Yes, ma'am, you want to get those out of the way?
Good evening.
Before you were two resolutions, one right off of public housing and the other one for the assisted housing. And actually, Vice, Chair
Yeah.
Yeah, she said
Presented
the whole
already.
thing.
presented them already, so.
So is there any questions at all about the two? We do these about every 3 or 4 months. Yeah, about every 3 or 4 months. Again, all this does is really, it's a kind of an accounting move to get it off the books. Collection action still goes on, whether it's taxes or offsets for that, or, government loans that they're trying to get, the collections still go on, and that's reported. I think the last time I saw in our significant activities report, you've collected $6,000 or $8,000 in those monies, so the collection action is still going on. So let me go with the first resolution, 2023. Is there any other discussion? Anybody got anything? All right. Steph, you're okay with it? Okay. Resolution, the first one is for public housing, 2023-03, resolution writing off uncollectible resident account receivable public housing, the amount of $8,226.75. I need a motion.
Motion to approve?
Got a second? Got it. Thank you, Ms. Goss. Ms. Bland?
Commissioner Cost?
Yes.
Commissioner Pickett?
Yes.
Commissioner Prince?
Yes.
Commissioner Wright?
Yes.
Vice Chair Wick?
Yes.
And Chairman Lundy.
Yes. Okay, resolution for assisted housing, 2023-04, resolution writing off uncollectible resident account receivable assisted housing. And I was noticing that these are for folks that have not lived in housing for at least 6 months.
Yeah.
Right, so it's not anybody that's current. Okay, got it. All right, I need a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second, Ms. Cobb, thank you. Ms. Bland?
Commissioner Cost?
Yes.
Commissioner Pickett?
Yes.
Commissioner Prince?
Yes.
Commissioner Wright?
Yes.
Vice Chair Wick?
Yes.
Chair Lundy.
Thank you very much. We've got time now for public speakers, and is this where we're at right now? Public speakers, yeah. We got 5 minutes for any public speaker to speak. Sir, anybody?
I guess my only comment is, and I may have misheard.
Yes, sir.
As far as repayment plans, I hear that for down payments, so you have two situations, right? One with like retroactive rent when someone fails to report income, one where they just fell behind. Did I hear that the down payment for both of those is the same under PRJ? Because that's not my understanding.
No, that's not what we said.
Okay, and I'm sure I misheard.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
That's right.
right, okay.
Because we can only do 40% on the retro, right? So we do 30% of the adjustable, and then the other 10%.
Right, I guess my only comment is HUD does, I mentioned this last meeting, HUD does give PHA's discretion as far as like what they consider sufficient to make the down payment. I just think 50% public housing is too high. I understand it's a undue hardship waiver, but from experience, it's rarely granted by PRHA, but I think it should be. Now it's discretionary, but I just want to lodge that issue that come to the table.
Yes, sir. You've put a light on something that we really hadn't looked at before, and I just want to say I appreciate it. All right. All right. Okay, any other, oh, by the way, before we go on to closed session? Again, I may be leaving early. So ask Vice Chair to take over just in case. But before we leave, I just want to say the staff that did the work on the employee Christmas party there at Roger Brown's, I thought it was a great job. Thank you very much. I thought it was a great time. I thought it was well organized. I thought everybody had a great time. And
I had a horrible.
regretfully, your horrible times on video. No problem, man. Okay, all right, I guess I gotta read a resolution here and put it in closed session. Whereas the resolution 2023-05, a resolution of intent to meet in closed meeting. Whereas the Freedom of Information Act provides the Board of Commissioners can meet in a closed meeting for the discussion of the acquisition and disposition of publicly held real property. For discussion, an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body as set forth in section 2.2, 3.7. The matters for discussion of the Churchland, which is the 5315 High Street property. Is that right? And the commercial districts 2 and 4. All right. Now therefore be resolved in compliance with the Freedom of Information Act, the aforementioned section of the code shall reconvene in a closed meeting on January 19th for the discussion of the disposition and acquisition of publicly held real property pursuant to Virginia Code 2.2 3711. Ms. Bland? I need a motion.
Motion to go into
Yes,
I second.
second, okay, good.
Commissioner Cost,
Yes.
Commissioner Pickens,
Yes.
Commissioner Prince.
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chair Wick,
Yes.
and Chairman Linder.
Yes, we're in closed session. Thank you.
We have the,